Hey there. On our play for this week, we pour one out for the most recent news on E3 2023. Are we excited about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom after Nintendo dropped 10 minutes of gameplay footage? What triggered Activision's boss Bobby Kotick to feel threatened by NetEase's boss? All this and more as we get to Season 7, Episode 13 of Press X to Start Gamers Digest. And then, I feel like this part is just a thing that I do all the time versus like I actually have to throw something in here. But okay. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka Stimmy Timmy. I am joined by
On MF Ross,
what the MF stand for.
Federico Love.
Ooh, ooh. This guy does the bachata. I don't know. I don't know. Who else is here?
Everyone, it's me, Avery.
Hi, Avery. How are you doing?
Uh, days have their ups and downs.
It's true. It's true. Okay. Well, President Star Gamers Digest is a video podcast that condenses the most important gaming news from the past week into an hour-long meal just for you. We are live on YouTube right now every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, you people. Hello, YouTube. Hello, world. I hope you have a napkin on your lap and you're ready for us to feed you. Yes. All right. Okay. Also, don't forget, please support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, hit the notification bell because you need to do those three things. And if you are listening but not watching, not shame on you. We appreciate your listen, but also, give us a watch. That'd be nice. We need those numbers to go up. You can leave us a review on the podcast service you are using, and we'd greatly appreciate that. If you want to join our conversations, you can by joining our Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. Cool. That's it. We did it. Not the end of the podcast. It's the end of the intro. Avery, let's get into the gaming news.
Yes. Okay. So the first biggest piece of gaming news is pour one out for your boys at the ESA. This is from IGN from Rebecca Valentine. E3 has been canceled. The show did. Here's a quote from the article. The show did not garner the sustained interest necessary. This is in the wake of pretty much every major publisher pulling out. The big three pretty much said at the front they weren't going to be there. It was clear that Sony was never going to be there, but there was always a chance that Microsoft and maybe Nintendo would be involved in some way. Both of them made it openly clear that they're not going. They're all pulling out. Then Ubisoft was the big holdout of we'll do E3, and then Ubisoft pulled out. And then Sega and a bunch of other major publishers pulled out, leaving nothing. And the ESA had to sort of come to the public hat in hand and say, E3 has been canceled. And there are a lot of mixed feelings going on. Not even mixed feelings. The prevailing theory is Rip Bozo. We're fine with E3 being canceled. No one wants the show anymore. I have more mixed feelings on that, but yeah.
Before we get into our feelings, I would like to say one thing where I would like to formally apologize to Ubisoft CEO. Is it Yves Guillemot?
Yves
Mhm.
Guillemot.
Yeah, when he had that quote about if E3 is even still happening. I mean, obviously, we weren't privy to the information of the chaos that was going on behind the scenes, but him being CEO and just supposed to get these plans, he obviously didn't get the plans. So to him, he didn't know if E3 was happening. Turns out it's not happening. So yes, I formally apologize to you because we know that you watch us and you enjoy our content, except for that one episode. So sorry. So yeah, let's get into our feelings on this. Sean, how do you feel about E3 going away for this year?
Um, I'm not gonna say I'm upset, but it would have been nice in my lifetime to go there at some point. But I feel like this is a natural progression of where it was gonna go anyway. I think the pandemic just accelerated it,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's not even because Nintendo started doing their tree houses or Sony started doing their state of plays and what have you. This is just the natural progression of the democratization of just getting your media out there to your customers.
The
You don't need
showcases
a
and
centralized place to do it all. You can do it yourself.
right. Like, yeah, like this hurts because we're all around the same age. We all grew up around the whole like fanfare of E3 and like getting to sit back and watch for those like couple of days of like all the biggest announcements happening that one week. And it's like that is now the good old days where it's just like, okay, you know what's gonna happen. Like it was like appointment TV watching for us. So it sucks that E3 is gone this year. I also want to say that, it's canceled for this year. ESA isn't like, all right, well, we're all packing up shop, guys, we're done. It's possible that this might happen, but like, yeah, so yeah, I'm on the same lines as Avery. Like, I think like they will come back next year, and they just need to figure their
No,
shit out.
we're on. I'm on the opposite. I think this is the
Oh, you
death
think it's
knell.
gone forever?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
the elephant in the room, this entire E3 thing, is that Jeff Keighley in his Summer Game Fest and what that is. I've
yeah,
made no bones about the fact that I generally prefer E3 as a product to Summer Games Fest. Watching
hmm
20 conferences during a period of 3 months with the only cohesion between them being that Jeff Keighley is tweeting them out isn't as enjoyable as a watching experience than a solid 1 week of games coverage where like, okay, one person goes this day, one person goes this day, one person goes this day. There's absolutely no conflict of interest, and for the most part, because everyone's moving so in tandem, there is no overlap in games. What's probably going to happen
right,
is that hey, uh, Square Enix is going to have a conference, but guess what? They're going to be also at the Sony conference. They're going to show the exact same content at both conferences. Xbox is going
yep,
to have, let's just say, a Capcom game at their conference. Cool, that Capcom game is going to be at the Capcom conference. One of the big issues that I generally have is that most developers are only going to be showing off content that's going to be in their next year of development, and most publishers aren't don't have enough content to really sustain massive shows on a regular basis. But now without E3 to coalesce everything, they're all have to figure out a way to put the marketing beat out there. I am.
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, continue.
No, I was going to say like I'm in totally aligned with you in terms of what Summer Game Fest is. Even though good job on Jeff Keighley for like having a product that is gonna be around this year, whereas E3 is not. But yeah, like I really do appreciate the fact that E3 is just 1 week, and it's just as you say, like there's not really any overlap with the games being shown because everyone is on a one like particular schedule. Whereas Summer Game Fest last year, like Jeff Grubbs, he has his whole Summer Game Mess thing, and it's just like yeah, that's what it ends up being because there is no person, there's no entity to rile everyone
Yeah,
down to one
Jeff.
schedule.
Yeah, Jeff isn't in control of Summer Games Fest. He's merely
Right.
just, hey guys, just be part of this. Everyone else is choosing things. This is not Jeff going to Sony. I'm sorry, Sony, you go
Mhm.
this day. Microsoft, you go this day. Pretty much everyone has already picked their dates, and this is just Jeff putting out his time blasts around them.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
that being said, that while I am generally critical of the way Summer Game Fest goes, especially I think his Game Fest kickoff for the most part should be pretty good. Uh, we'll see if we're gonna get another because he usually it's like it's a weird thing. It starts in the summer, then doesn't really end until fall because he ends it with the Gamescom thing.
Opening night
And
live.
yeah, my problem with the Gamescom thing is I didn't realize it till this year with how EU focused it was, and as a direct result,
Mhm.
it's a weird mismatching of games. A lot of Focus Home Interactive, where I discovered for the first time they were a publisher. I beyond all that, my misgivings, I do think the actual meat of what Summer Game Fest is Jeff doing his Game Fest play dates and things like that, which
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think is going to get as big as it's going to be a consumer focused thing, which is one of
Yeah.
those things where like, which is one of those things where like, it is what it is, but that summer play day thing should be fulfill the same role that E3 happened. Uh, well, I've been very positive about my feelings with E3 and how I love it. I will be the first to tell you that at a certain point, the conferences became just who can one up the other one the most in presentation, and spending so much money to just get mean to all hell afterwards by people who inherently do not see your vision on either side. I think I like the new, to Sean's point, I like the democratization of content rollout and like people putting out content when they feel possible and controlling their own marketing initiatives and not having to base everything on E3. I think that's better for the industry. I just don't think we need Summer Games Fest as a whole as a bow to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like for how it is structured right now, like my I would I would I would hope, I would love to see ESA come hat in hand to Jeff Keighley and like, hey, look, yeah, look, this is done. Like if E3 is like over, like ESA comes to Jeff Keighley like, hey, look, this is done. What we're going to do, or what we would like to do, is create some kind of intermediate between Summer Game Fest and E3, where it is a convention or something, but Jeff Keighley is running it. And it's the thing where he can use the power of ESA/E3 to rile the publishers in like, hey, look, this is the schedule we're gonna do. Because I
Yeah,
feel like that
that
would be the thing that everyone wants because no one as quote unquote popular as Summer Game Fest is, no one really had a good time sitting through the months of like, okay, well, what's coming up now? Like, all right, I guess I'll just watch this thing now. And then it's like, oh, then this other event that's happening. It was a mess. So there needs to be some kind of gathering of the publishers and like an agreement upon a schedule. But as it is right now with E3 going away, there's no control over that anymore.
I think that the relationship between Jeff Keighley and the ESA is irreparably broken. I don't think there's any
Yeah.
way those two are coming to terms on anything. I think the ESA is going to have to figure out what they want to do next. I don't necessarily think we're getting another E3 next year because I think that the Summer Games Fest train is going to keep like pushing forward and getting bigger and bigger, and Jeff's going to get not even more power, just more carte blanche too. Because like if you've seen the marketing, his self promotion with Summer Games Fest, every time there's even a little bit of news of E3, he puts out a tweet that is like doubling down on
Yeah.
like why he's a better choice. So there's no way he's going to like go back under the thumb of the ESA and B like
Well, it wouldn't be him going back under the thumb of ESA. It'd be
there
ESA going to him like, "Hey, look, you can lead this thing because we're
I
obviously incapable."
I don't think the ESA is just going to give him the keys. Like the relationship you're asking is essentially like a major collective of people saying, "Hey, our product is bad."
Well, it is.
I don't necessarily think so. I think it's old. I don't think necessarily bad.
But when I say bad, I mean like it's going along the lines of being irrelevant
Yes,
because of
irrelevant makes
how
sense,
yeah,
but I don't
yeah,
necessarily think it's bad. I like
yeah.
most comic books are irrelevant in the grand scheme of entertainment, but like I wouldn't sit there and say they're inherently bad. Uh,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
yeah. So like yeah, I don't think that group and body is going to give him carte blanche to do everything, especially when they have other things to do. And like it's I think yeah, that's not a hero there. But yeah, I don't think the relation. I think this is the end of E3 as we know it. I think if
Mm,
ESA comes back, the E3 is not. I don't think we get another E3 next year. I think this is the shit to get off the pot, and I think next year. Because here's the thing, one of the reasons why Jeff Keighley is not going to take over E3 is because the Summer Games Fest branding is so in synergy with his 3 shows
true.
that I think he wants to keep that momentum forward where he's the only game in town.
Yeah.
And the issue is if he works with ESA and they give him control and he puts out a good conference, what is the say they just say, all right, cool, fuck it. We don't need you again for next year because now we have the framework to do what we want to do better now.
Yeah. Yeah. I can agree with that. I would like to be more
Optimistic.
condensing of the stuff
The connect
between like yeah.
yeah.
That's my issue with Summer Game Fest, and that's the thing that I would like to see Jeff Keighley work on now that E3 is not going to be a
Yeah.
thing, and like that's what E3 was.
Yeah. Jeff's
But
not gonna have any power over this.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And ESA would yeah. Okay, so our next story is revolving one of our favorite members of the video game industry. This is from Eurogamer. This is from Tom Phillips. Activision boss Bobby Kotick reportedly felt threatened by NetEase CEO. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about how, well, a couple months ago, Activision Blizzard was pulled all of their ABK pulled all of their content from China. They had an agreement with NetEase that fell through. NetEase had a live stream of them removing Activision Blizzard content from their campus, which was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And we didn't know, and we had no real information for why they would do this because it literally made no sense. Now it's clear. From a Bloomberg. Yes, I think it was an original. No, it was a New York Times article. So shout out to their journalism who gave us the real information. And this is just Eurogamer just summarizing it and stuff. The main part of conceit is that NetEase was never happy with their content from Activision Blizzard. From all parent sources, Activision Blizzard was taking advantage of them in their relationship. There's new regulation in China in regards to games and entertainment. So NetEase wanted to renegotiate their contract to be more fair to them and deal with what's going on in China. At some point, Bobby Kotick, in the middle of all this, got slighted in some way or shape or form. There's also a weird miscommunication where he believed that NetEase was going to use their relationship with the Chinese government to, quote unquote, block the Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft. And so he made the executive decision of being like, all right, fuck it, we don't need them. And they moved on and pulled all their content from China, which is going to be an interesting thing that Microsoft is going to have to deal with going forward when they absorb Activision Blizzard into their branch and how that all works. But yeah,
Although I feel like Microsoft might have better relations with China than Bobby Kotick and his.
It depends. It depends because as far as I'm aware of, every game in China has to be like approved. It's not like Microsoft had a blank deal that all our games get like approval. It's more like, all right, there's a review process, and every piece of content that goes into China has to be reviewed.
Yeah, but isn't like Windows, isn't that in China? They don't have their own proprietary OS, do they? Like that's what I mean in terms of like Microsoft is it's such a big company where they have those connections.
Let me see. Because to be fair, I think Xbox being in China is still a new thing.
Oh yeah. Xbox being overseas is a new thing.
And it's not even a fight against their content. I'm thinking like PlayStation and all the entertainment products. China has been operating for a long time in an underground ring when it comes to video games. In that they just didn't have China is very restrictive on content coming in and out. So
you couldn't just walk into a store and buy any of that stuff.
Like that, I think I talked about this before. Valorant has been in Valorant is a 3-year-old game. They just got the go-ahead to be released in China, and there's already been a Chinese circuit of Valorant professional play. So the game is there in China illegally, but the Chinese government has not approved it.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So jog on to Bobby Kotick. You were a horrible boss, and I can't wait for you to get your golden parachute and disappear from the video game industry. Well, at least I hope you disappear from the video game industry.
Yeah.
You never know.
Somebody's going to take him. He makes money.
No, I don't think he's going to take him. I think he's going to start his own company again. Like, he's just going to build another thing that's going to make him money. Like, he's good at making money. He's just
got to help whoever goes to work for him.
I know. It's gonna be him and the COO, whatever that lady name is.
CCO.
There you go. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's. I feel like the easiest and simplest answer is it was a translation error and he just took it the wrong way and he led with his pride and he just like, well, we don't need them because our X's and O's look good, so whatever, we're out. Peace out, homies. And he walked away and they're like, oh, well, that's just stupid. So yeah.
I continue to feel bad for all the Chinese players of video games. I even feel especially bad for the Overwatch players in that, guess what? China was probably one of the biggest markets for the Overwatch League. And because of this, they've lost that entire market because now it's kind of hard for those gamers to play and or watch pro Chinese Overwatch.
Yikes.
Okay. So our next story, this is from Chris Gullion from VGC. Nintendo shows 10 minutes of Tears of the Kingdom gameplay. So for the most part, we got a 10-minute video from Asia Onuma, the creative director of, series producer for the Legend of Zelda franchise. I'm not sure if he's the creative director of this game. Based on his placement in the Nintendo hierarchy, I don't think he is, but I'm not going to make any assumptions. So yeah, they just showed off a bunch of footage of the game, which has been in relative video silent outside of two world tone pieces being trailers. And they showcase a Link exploring this new version of Hyrule and showed off 3 of his new abilities. One being the more mundane Ascend, which is, from what I can guess, is them dealing with people apparently having an issue navigating dungeons and things in that game. What Ascend does is it takes Link's character model and just shoots him into the air as long as there's a ceiling above him. So it's essentially, from what people describe it as, it's an instant escape from any sort of enclosed encasing, and it's actually a new bit of traversal to get him to higher areas. They also revealed his ability of Rewind, which allows him to take an object and using the game's physics engine, manipulate that object on the timeline of its movement. So, for example, if an object from the sky fell, he could then use Rewind to manipulate that object and move it into the air. And they talked about how using that as a way to navigate the big new set piece of these area, which are the sky islands in the game, which hover into the air. And they also made it clear that there is instantaneous traversal between land and ground,
No load
land
screens.
and sky. So there's no effectively load screens. If you fall off an area, you can instantly land, hot drop wherever you want. And then the biggest new feature, which everyone is assuming why this game's development is taking as long as it is they revealed the last of his new abilities is called Fuse, which allows Link to take 2 items in the world. And if anyone knows the item, has recognized has seen the item table for the original Breath of the Wild, they have a lot of things, and you can now fuse those objects together and or share and as a direct result, share their properties together. So if he could equip a stick to a pitchfork, it will turn it into a longer pitchfork. He could equip a arrow. He could take like alchemic materials for like a cold slime that you could get and equip that to an arrow, and suddenly now you have an ice arrow and things of that nature.
Like a monster eye onto the arrow, and it's like a tracking
arrow. It's a homing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a interesting showcase that has left a lot of Breath of the Wild fans extremely excited.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's a good way of saying it.
I so want to go back and finish the first game.
I'm literally one Divine Beast away from beating it.
I only did 1 Divine Beast.
I think I played 3 hours of the game.
Here's the thing. What's even funnier is I have 2 playthroughs of this game, one on Wii U and one on Switch. The Wii U one, I only got 2 Divine Beasts. The Switch one, I got to 3 and said, I'm good. I'll maybe get back to it. It was not clear.
It was just too much for me to explore.
If it's not clear, like this, to be like, this is only on the docket because it's a SEO news story that I think is genuinely good, because we are not the audience for this game. Like
here's the thing, though. Okay, go ahead. Finish, because I'll give my piece, but you could continue.
I think we've all been transparent about how we all felt underwhelmed by the original Breath of the Wild, and we weren't singing his praises at that time. So for me, this game would have had to do a lot to really get me excited, because I didn't really truly enjoy my time playing this game. And if you're telling me this is just the same game but more, I'm like, you gotta do a little bit more. And the one thing I wanted out of this was show me dungeons. If you put traditional Legend of Zelda dungeons and exploration and puzzle solving in this game, I will be excited for this. But as far as I can tell, it seems to be very much, here's the original Breath of the Wild. We're adding new areas to explore via the Sky Islands, and we added new systems on top of everything to
evolve the gameplay, basically.
Add more depth to its exploration. But do
you think there's going to be dungeons? Do you think Nintendo's just holding that back?
I don't know, because here's the thing:
Okay.
I'm in the minority of people who didn't. One of the reasons who didn't enjoy this game
You
is
wanted
because
your traditional long dungeon, not these short little things that have one gimmick to it. I feel you.
I'm in the minority. Always been in the minority. When the game popped
Mhm.
up and it was like, oh man, I love this. I'm like, nah, man. I'm the type of dude, if you did the exact fucking same formula of this game, but gave it new settings, new equipment, and just cooler dungeons, I am with you forever. And they flipped the switch and they made a game that was interesting in new directions, but it didn't feel to me like a Zelda game. I just generally didn't have fun playing it. So I'm looking at
Yeah.
this game and I'm looking at this game and I'm like, man, I'm just not excited for this game. Like, Fuse seems to be the most
Mm.
dumbest ability of all time to build an entire system around.
Really?
Yeah. Like the
So
building
Okay.
machines part of it and traversal
Yeah.
machines, that is a cool thing. But building weapons, that's one of those things where I'm like, this is just gonna be just as I will not enjoy this as much as I didn't enjoy weapon degradation in the first place.
Yeah. So so
This
my
could have
experience
been a
with
whole nother franchise.
well, I mean that's what Nintendo does though. They stuff a bunch of stuff into their known quantities and they just build off of that. But like
Yeah. Go ahead.
okay, so yeah, I generally Breath of the Wild didn't do it for me. My transition has been from Breath of the Wild to Horizon to Genshin Impact. I think now I am a very different gamer from 2016 in terms of like the things that I've just spent my hours in and like things that I can enjoy. And I got to tell you what they showed, it checked all my boxes. Like I absolutely love the fuse mechanic. I my hope is that the mechanic extends beyond to just wood or like branches and rocks and like you can really do some like really interesting and crazy weaponry. Then this is Nintendo. Oh,
I
you're
think
muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think the extent of the fuse mechanic is essentially going to be anything that Link can pick up and put in his inventory. So,
Yeah.
so that's the extent of it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
if you were hoping so if like continue.
Yeah, so in my mind, like I am I'm hoping that that is a thing that is really, really flushed out and it's like really fun because I do like crafting in that way. So when they showed you put the mushroom on the shield and now the you create like a little smoke cloud thing, it's like, hey, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
My thing with that, and one of my biggest frustrations of the original Breath of the Wild was weapon
Mhm.
degradation. It did incentivize you as a player to experiment with objects and items, but it was incredibly frustrating to get used to. Okay, playing this game a certain way, and then I guess this sword just decides to break right now. I gotta use up one of the 15 other items in my inventory that I just don't want to use. Like, and my feeling with this is that it's going to have the exact same feeling, but it's
Mhm.
up to 11 because now you have to because now it's a double version of resource management. It's I
True.
better this thing is going to last maybe a couple of fights, then break, and I can't use it before I want to use it again. I better have the exact same set of materials I had to begin with to do so. And I'm like, that doesn't seem fun to me.
I think the only caveat I will say is that it seems that like in terms of like the finer details is that when you do a fuse, you reset the degradation bar or whatever, so it
Hopefully
lasts
that's the
longer.
case.
Yeah, because it seemed like that's what it was for the stick.
Yeah.
But
And my,
the hope is that like they're also hearing the fact that people had such a big issue with that, and yeah, they're gonna keep it in this game, but they're also going to do things that allow us to better manage that stuff, I guess. Like,
I don't think so. I think they're hell bent on weapon durability as like a factor of this game in their playstyle.
Mhm.
It's like one of the things I was also interested to see in this is that they didn't really showcase any new weapons or items in this
Yeah.
trailer. They just showed
Yeah.
Link making items and weapons with with the fusing ability, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that is the question. That is the question mark. Because at the end of the game, you spoiler end with the Master Sword, which is the only weapon that cannot be degraded, except for it has
Yeah.
this weird recharge mechanic. That means you can only use it for a set amount of time before you need to recharge for a certain amount of times. So the question is, I'm going into this game, is fusing going to be the only way you're going to be able to manipulate weaponry in this game? or and using the Master Sword for like as like a side thing, or are you using, or is there another fleet of new weapons and things they've added to that? And then that gets to the question of why would I want to fuse, say, I don't know, why would I want to fuse two sticks
Mushroom to a
together
sword.
when I could just, get a sword that shoots fire?
Oh, true. Yeah. So I think that's where my question is what the actual fusion looks like mid to late game. Because like, yeah, like you're picking up sticks, you're fusing rocks to sticks, you got a hammer, cool. You pick up a stick, you fuse it to a rake, now you got a pokey rake. So it's like that's all great and all, but I I want to know like, all right, well, the I guess the hope is that the fusion extends to more cooler looking things when you put them together and like, oh, maybe you're fusing together the master sword or something because in the logo it looks like it's deteriorating or breaking up or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I'm hoping that what they're showing us is just a tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
And then my last thing to say about the fusing thing, the only cool thing I thought about the fusing thing was fusing arrows. Because like
Hmm.
everything breaks in the original Breath of the Wild, including bows. So if you got a cool bow that did elemental damage, you were kind of shit out of luck if it broke. But this now says like I can use whatever fucking bow I want, not care if it affects. And as long as I have the
Right.
materials, I can instantly make ice arrows. I can instantly make fire arrows. I can instantly make bomb arrows. And hey, I can instantly make homing arrows. So that's cool. I'm like that's cool. But yeah, my general feelings on this game before we move on to the next story is that hey, I'm excited for the people who are excited for this game. I'm probably not going to pick this up. I'm like generally just because of how I feel about the original Breath of the Wild, because it doesn't fundamentally look like a fundamental change to what I want out of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And it's still I'm still on this crusade about the Switch being a poor system and this being like, oh man, this still does not look great.
Yeah. That's enough. Like so, yeah. My last thing is like if they can get this game to run well with all the stuff in it and the fact that there's I guess no loading screens between the sky islands and the the ground, they need to win like the dice awards in 2024 because
But
that's
people are already
ridiculous.
flying in the original one, were they not?
What?
Flying? What do you mean?
Yeah, and the first they I mean, they already have, like, Sky Islands in the first Breath of the Wild.
Did they?
With that
I,
expansion, yes.
I don't know about this. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, well, props to them then.
I mean, it's
But
not that much of a stretch, but I hear you.
yeah. So yeah, like the for me, the only issue that I'm gonna have with this game is that I'm gonna be probably knee deep in Burning Shores before I get this. And to go from that to
Pre-ordered Burning Shores last night.
oh, did you? Well, you know about me and pre-order, and I'll see that the night before.
What,
But
what
yeah,
kills
like
what kills me the most about him and DJing pre-ordering is that not he's not taking a moral stand against pre-ordering. He's just not doing it to the last second.
I'm
Uh,
weaponizing my
con
procrastination.
concerted procrastination. Mm-mm-mm.
So yeah, like it's just gonna be going from burning shores to Tears of the Kingdom is gonna be like a literal culture shock. So that's the only thing I'm just gonna be like I have to deal with, and I know I'm gonna have to deal with. But yeah, that's Tears of the Kingdom. We're pretty mixed, but I'm excited. I'm probably gonna get it unless the world ends or something crazy happens. But yeah. Hey,
That's the great thing. It's portable, you can play it in portable mode.
you know what? That's another thing too. I'm gonna get a pro controller because ain't no way I'm playing with the Switch controller with freaking Joy-Con.
That was one of the first
I
things about
I
how you not have
unironically
that
use
yet.
a GameCube
Yeah.
controller for Switch.
Oh gosh.
Oh, you can just do. I can
I,
do.
I bought the wireless GameCube controller, uh,
Yeah.
which was updated to have be like Switch compatible. And I realized it halfway through playing Breath of the Wild when I couldn't find my Pro controller. Like, oh, I can use this. This is more comfortable than me. The, game, the
That's
GameCube
awesome.
the GameCube controller is literally one of the unironically best controllers ever made.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Listener and viewer, do us a solid. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss all this and our shorts on our channel. If you are listening, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a review. And when you get time, go jump onto our YouTube channel. Check it out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. We have a lot of stuff on there. Yeah, that's it. Let's get back into the show. Avery, what's happening with
Cool.
The Last of Us?
All right,
Oh no.
so this is a hmm, no, I'm not going to say rare L because it's Sony, but this is a common L coming from the Sony Corporation. This is VGC from Andy Robinson. The Last of Us PC has been heavily criticized on release day for poor performance. So Sony is getting into the realm of releasing their games on PC after the fact, not a day and date thing. So when they made The Last of Us Part 1 last year, and me and Marcus played it and said, oh, this is a fantastic game because it's a better version of a game that was already fantastic. They waited some time, then released this game on PC, probably to get the boost of the get a boost from the show. And then the game came out, and it immediately got the PC mark of disapproval with horrendous Steam reviews as people like, oh, this game is poorly optimized. This game doesn't run well. There's texture issues. And add the coffin to nail to the coffin. Oh, it runs poorly on Steam Deck because now every game that releases on PC has to run well on Steam Deck as an objective fact of video game
Yeah.
development. As far as I can tell, this game was developed by Iron Galaxy, and not Naughty Dog proper, but I can't actually be sure because I heard some weird information surrounding that. It might have been Naughty Dog responsible for the PC release. Sony has promised to fix the issues going forward. But yeah,
How do they allow this to
Uh
happen? I mean, this is one of your biggest properties aside from God of War and maybe Horizon. They delayed it for what?
I
they didn't delay it.
It
no,
was
they
pushed
should have
back a
delayed
month,
it.
wasn't it?
No, they
Oh,
didn't.
was it?
No, as far as I'm aware,
The
the PC
piece?
release. As far as I'm aware, the PC release wasn't delayed.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, what I don't what I don't get is in my mind, I look at like QA, right? QA probably saw these issues, reported the issues, and higher ups were like, it's fine. Like, go ahead, Sean.
We reported on this. I mean, it was a
Yeah,
couple weeks, but I mean, it was delayed. It was supposed to come out March 3rd. It came out on March 28th.
Okay, so to
Oh,
clarify, we didn't report on this. If
I feel
like
like we talked about this.
we did, okay. This is a conversation that went on in our Discord about conversations that we may or may not have on the show. There is 90% of the stories that get 100% of the stories that get posted in our this actually I probably shouldn't be talking about this on cast. Whatever. Yeah, we didn't report on this. We didn't talk about this on
Yeah.
we didn't we didn't report on this. We didn't talk about this during the cast. I was wrong that it didn't get delayed, but it was delayed at best a month. So I didn't consider it a delay because
I agree. I agree. I'm just saying, like, this is one of your biggest properties that
yeah. Like,
how did they
there's
allow
no
this to
reason
go
it should have
come out?
released in this state. There's no reason it should. I was looking for the Greg Miller tweet about PC players because I found that to be hilarious. But like, I don't. I just don't get it. I like, there's a joke of like, well, why are you playing a console game on PC? Play the game on consoles. Yeah, sure, but if PlayStation goes through the pain sake of making a PC port, the port should be reflective of the actual game. And for it to come out this way, it's like,
I think
who dropped the ball?
I think Iron Galaxy obviously dropped the ball. I think
Yeah,
Iron Galaxy dropped the ball, and this game was originally always developed for PS5. So like, there's always the pain points of, we're having to change some architecture for it. Like this game was not designed to
yeah,
be on PC, so this isn't
yeah.
just a port. This is all right. We have to re-optimize this, and then there is the devil's advocate problem with PC gaming is that no one there's never a one-to-one between everyone's rigs. What's super funny about this is the first time I heard about this game was Andy Cortez talking about it on the Kinda Funny Games cast, talking about how great it was and how it ran well and ultra wide, and
Hmm.
how he's never
Hmm.
had any problems with this. Which is one of those things where I was generally shocked when I saw this, which indicates to me that there could be some just general optimization problems in between that with the grand not individual with the grand majority of rigs that they just didn't
Well,
optimize for.
Andy's rig because I remember
Yeah, yeah,
that
he has a
part too.
40.
Like
Yeah,
he
he
has
has
like
a
a
40.
490 or
Yeah,
490. Yeah,
he
yeah,
has a
yeah.
4090.
So like that's like top of the line too. So
Yeah,
like That's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's poor optimization, and it's one of
yeah,
those things where if you pay attention, like PC isn't their main bread and butter, like in terms of
yeah, exactly.
their sales. So it doing bad for them, like it having a poor reception doesn't actually undercut that it as a game is objectively good. It's just
Yeah.
poorly optimized. So at a certain point, it will be perfect, and at a certain point, people will go back and play it, especially when more and more of The Last of Us comes out.
I bet they probably just hit the budget line and was like, all right, well, we gotta get this out because we got other stuff to do. Like they
I
got
I
factions
I
to work
think
on and so on and so forth.
without throwing shade to Iron Galaxy, who are known for making
Mhm.
Rumbleverse and a bunch of other ports, I just think this team didn't know what they were doing with the content they were given.
Oh, okay.
And just they had a deadline, and like they're an independent company whose big game just went out, so they just said, "Fuck it,
Yeah,
we need to get this workout."
that's a good
Um,
point.
Apparently it was the oodle and Kraken compression that was giving it issues, but I think it can redeem itself. That's what I was thinking. If Cyberpunk 2077 can redeem itself, this already
Did you say
has,
oodling cracking? We
I
we're
the
just gonna
think,
skip that.
PS5 compression tools. You forgot the name
Oh,
of them?
yeah, I think,
yeah. Did I
I
ever know the
think
name of that?
this isn't a Cyberpunk situation.
I don't think so
No,
either.
yeah, that's not a right like
No,
because
no, no. What I'm saying is, The Last of Us
If
already has
Cyberpunk, yeah.
pedigree. Cyberpunk came back from the dead. It launched poorly. It was a trash ass game. People are singing its praises now after it got updated. This already has pedigree. It just was poorly optimized.
yeah, I don't think it's an apples. I think it's a very an apples to oranges thing. That's why I'm like pushing back in the Cyberpunk thing, because like the core difference between this and Cyberpunk is that PlayStation already made like millions of dollars of sales, like selling this game on
Consoles
PS5.
and stuff.
So
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
is just an amuse boost. Well, Cyberpunk fucked up everywhere to the point where PS5 pulled it from its stores.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Anywho,
Okay. Our next story in more PlayStation with massive woes. This is from Ethan Gossett from Kotaku. PSVR headset sales sound like they're off to a really rough start. So this is a month after the PSVR 2's launch, and from all estimates, I guess from consumer branches, it's probably sold around 200 or a little over 250K in terms of actual sales, which is in comparison to the original PSVR 1. It's not great. Uh, PlayStation had a pretty much relatively lofty expectations for the console that they have never really talked about, but has been reported by various sources. So in line, it's not tracking to do well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, this is not surprising. This is kind of where my head was in terms of its VR platform and where the industry is in VR as a whole. So, I mean, it sucks for the people who worked on it, and you know, this is very troubling. But like, I feel like this is just kind of the market right now where VR is great, but VR is great in the bubbles. Like in terms of a general platform, I don't really see it. Like to me, I feel like the first canary in the coal mine was High on Life. The fact that that was just a normal game versus a VR game, where when they jumped into the market, they jumped into the market with Trover Save the World.
No, they jumped in the market with that team made a no, was that Crows. I can't really tell, but the first
Is
Justin
that
Roiland
Counting Plus?
was accounting plus.
Yeah, I think that might have been Crow.
I
I'm
think
not sure if that was the same.
the Trevor Saves the World was that team's, I guess, that Squanch Games first game, but I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure if Crows, and Squanch are any intimately tied together beyond Justin Roiler.
gotcha.
It's a neither here or there conversation. The ultimate
Yeah,
thing about this was, I think the problem is that the meta. I think at least analysts are talking about how the metaverse is essentially fucked up VR as a concept. They launched this with a, I'm not even say strong success of games. A lot of games, most of them ports you can find on other consoles that on other platforms, which is it. And then they launched it at an unacceptable price for a VR headset. Like I get the technology in it, I get that, but you essentially told me, hey, spend more on this headset than you spent on a PS5 for content that you're going to spend maybe 10% of your total gaming time playing. And which is why I didn't like. I would have jumped into this and jumped onto the sinking boat. out of my love for VR. But when they launched it at like $500+, I'm like, I can't afford to do this when like the only game I'm probably going to be playing is Horizon, and then they've shown me nothing else afterwards.
Yeah. Like I'll say it again. I think it was very telling for the fact that, their launch lineup didn't include an Astrobot game. Beat Saber wasn't even like ready to go. They were still developing it. Like it just the as a person who had VR1 and needed to be convinced to buy VR2, that lineup of games didn't do it for me. And I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of people out there who were in the same boat as me, were in terms of like, yeah, you had VR1, you had a good time, but yeah, you just didn't use it that much. And now that there is a new VR2 and it's even more expensive than the base console that you're playing the games on, it's like, what is happening? Like it, and I think I said this before. That felt like a very PS3 like era move right there, which is like, no, you guys are gonna buy it because it's PlayStation VR2. Come on now. And the industry spoke. Yeah. Sean, how do you feel about this as the only person on here with a PSVR 2?
I enjoy it when I do play it. I really think the pricing was a result of the market, chip shortage, all that good stuff, pandemic, what have you. And I think they just couldn't afford to take as much of a hit as they may have wanted to lower the price.
Mm,
But it's solid hardware. They just need to keep the games coming. I don't regret
yeah.
buying it.
Yeah. Well, that's good though. Like
Yeah.
as long as you don't regret it. I mean, I think that's another thing too, is that like this is troubling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's completely over. Like if PlayStation wants to put a focus on this, then they definitely can. Like we are rumored to get a uh showcase or something happening before May. It's possible they can put some games that we don't even know about that's VR into that.
I
I know,
think
Avery. I'm just
yeah,
trying to
I
give
know.
him hope. I'm just
I
trying to
know.
give him hope. So yeah, it's like, it's possible. Is it likely? Probably not. No.
I think
But
this
yeah.
is definitely going the way of the Vita, in that it's going to be a console that in the next year or two, PlayStation is going to stop supporting. But people who make VR games are going to continue trying to get their content on this platform to get out to as many people as possible. And hopefully, and then it's just going to be a dedicated console for VR enthusiasts going forward, which is fine. But it's one of those things where it sucks. We will probably get
Or
another.
I was gonna say, or they open it up to PC because people are trying to get it working on
Oh,
PC. They probably actually open up the whatever proprietary shit they got going on because
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think that's
the
ever going
market
to
is
happen.
there.
Because it's not even like, does the PlayStation Sean, does the PlayStation VR2 have its own OS?
No.
Oh no, yeah,
And
you
they
have to
already
look
opened up
through.
the source code for it. People are digging through the source code. It works on
But that,
PC.
then it becomes the thing that's unintuitive for it being a consumer PC product. In that, if I want to play this on my PC, now I gotta do some fucking PC. Like if you're a PC gamer, that's
Do
fucking
Matrix
people
fine.
math.
not do that on PC gaming already, Avery?
Motherfucker, I know. But what I'm trying to say is that there's a difference between plugging it in and being like, my PC's recognizing this. Like, Steam instantly works because like they're compatible to a difference than I gotta somehow gut the actual PlayStation stuff inside of it to get it working on PC. And I'm saying the
No,
people
they
who
just
bought this,
release a driver. That's it.
whatever. Like, I think it's way more complicated than I think it's way more complicated of a thing than you're saying it is. But we can just move
Like
on.
I think Sean is saying that Sony can fix it on their side in terms of, all right, now we release something, you
They
just
just release some
download a
drivers to work
driver or
on the
something.
PC the same way they do for
Yeah.
any other thing that you attach to the PC.
I think that it not having its own independent OS inside of it is a barrier of entry that requires more work than just simply, oh, we're going to release the driver.
Yeah. It won't necessarily be plug and play. Like
Yeah,
you're gonna
it
have to
won't
do
be
some
plug
work
and
on
play.
your side.
You
Yeah.
will have to do work on a PC before you get before it works on PSVR 2.
Yeah. But I also think that the other side to this is that if you're gonna spend $550 on something, like more than likely you've done a little bit of
I
research
think,
on
yeah,
it, so you know what
my
you're getting into.
my thing is, and why I don't think this reality makes sense is that there are there are already better headsets on PC at relatively comparable prices. So the only people who are going to be buying this thing are people who are buying it for console. And where
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't
good
think
point.
they're going to want to jump the bells and whistles to get it working on PC, which is also
Yeah.
spending another $2K on hardware to get this thing to work.
Because the only thing you're missing out is the Horizon game, right? Because that's like the only big exclusive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably other exclusives, but like that's the only big
Yeah.
exclusive. All right, yeah. Yeah, hey, so oh, actually, before we jump into the last news, I just want to give a shout out to PlayStation for up to this time of recording. They still have not announced any kind of mass layoffs, no major layoffs or anything. So they are still trucking. So good job them for keeping their people employed. So
Thanks
shout
for
out to them.
jinxing it, DJ.
Tomorrow, literally tomorrow.
Sony
Oh
employees,
no.
Sony ex-employees, you can thank DJ for effing up your job.
Can you imagine? Look, okay, look. So apparently, this guy on Press X Start podcast had called the fact that we were all going to get laid off. Sent your hate mail to him. Oh, jeez. All right. All right, Ever, you want to do this last one? Then we can do a quick. Okay.
No, he doesn't
Yeah.
because he hates this game.
That's why I want to jump, and that's why I want to step in his grave. That's a joke. This is from Zach Swyson from Kotaku.com. Surprising fans, W Smash Bros. Like shutters until 2024 with no refunds. We've been talking in our various channels about Multiverses, a game I called out from the jump street that probably wouldn't have the infinite loop and was told, nah, man, it's gonna kill Smash Brothers. Now we are in 2020. Now we're in the earliest of 2023, and this game apparently was in beta for the last year, and
Surprise.
they're
If
shutting
Fortnite
it
can do
down.
it, they can do it too.
I mean, like,
Yo.
and they're shutting it. They're shutting all of its online multiplayer functionality, and essentially shuttering the game till an unknown time in 2024, as they reevaluate content plans and all things.
This is.
I don't see the need for refunds if they're just taking a pause on the game. I mean, you paid for a thing. This is something you must be aware of when you're buying digital goods. You don't own anything. You're paying for a license.
The question, Sean,
unfortunately.
is this a pause, or is this their way of quietly tucking their tails and running and just like moving forward for this game?
Yeah. So
If
the
they
game
are,
is,
they are.
The game is free to play. So like what you're spending
Mhm.
money on is like the token stuff to unlock the characters, which that gets kind of weird in terms of
We
what is the
argued
refund
about this.
policy.
Yeah, we argued about this early on about the unlock stuff and the situation, and this is all coming sort of like to bite its player base in the ass, I guess.
That's true. Yeah, like I mean, there's two ways looking at it. There is the, I guess, pessimistic way of like, all right, you guys say you're gonna come back. Are you guys gonna come back? I mean, there's also the optimistic way of looking at it in terms of,
They going
all
out the
right,
door.
well, yeah, like when you guys come back, like this better be pretty cool when it comes back, and like there should be lessons learned in the game. But I don't know, man. In terms of me, like the game's not even on my console anymore. I have a very limited amount of space. So
When did you delete it?
a while ago,
He on
I
your
have to
ass.
make room.
He's on
I
your
have,
ass.
hey, look. Call of Duty is like 4 games, okay? So that requires a
Mhm.
lot of space, and I had to make some sacrifices.
Did you buy a DualSense Edge before you added expandable hard memory to your PS5?
I have a USB. That's expandable
No,
memory.
he
Hey
means the
man,
actual
no judgment, no
USB.
judgment, no judgment,
Hey,
no judgment.
hey, I got 32 gigabytes on this bad boy right here.
What
You
game,
know,
what
see
game
this?
that gonna hold?
No,
What
no,
indie game is
I
that
think
gonna hold?
I think it has like a bunch of Word documents on it.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't feel bad necessarily. You just got to take that into account when you're buying digital content. You don't own
I
anything.
think
You're buying a
with
license.
no refunds is something that Kotaku added afterwards. There's the only people I know who really talked about how this is an issue, that there are no refunds with this game after they're quote unquote
It ain't an
shuttering
issue.
it. Yeah, but my thing is the way the game is going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally my issue, is that like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe a free to play fighting game is flawed. I don't necessarily think that this was going to be the game that worked. I know how DJ felt about playing it, but I thought the mobile aspects of it were always going to be weird. And then there's always the inevitable problem with all these games, and as their cast balloons out, and how do you manage that? Coupled with, I think the biggest problem this game has is a content issue. Is that like, cool? I love DC characters. Cool, I can get down with the Looney Tunes. I don't give a shit about the vast majority of Warner Brothers IP in a real space. Like,
why do I need to play as what's the name, Stark? Arya?
Yeah. It's like, oh man, every
weird choice.
LeBron James, that's a pull. That's a big PR pull to get people excited. A cast member from Scooby-Doo isn't gonna be like, Velma, I love you as a character in the modern age, but like you're not setting the world on fire in comparison to like the day when Joker got added to Smash and people were like losing their minds. That's the other big thing that multiverses have that Smash doesn't problem have. That at this point, Smash can pull in any character they want without the arbitrary rules of having it be a Nintendo character. Well, Warner Brothers is really stuck on their own IP and like people are fans of those IP, but not the multiverse that they occupy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like Warner Brothers is a big IP and they have a lot of known characters, but a lot of those characters aren't relevant right now. So
after a while, you're just scraping the barrel.
Yeah, because like I think the last character they had was like Martian to Marvin, and it's like, all right,
I want you to flip what you just said.
Marvin the Martian.
There we go.
You're right. That's exactly what I said the first time, right? But yeah, and it's just like I know Marvin the Martian because of like, you know, the shirts that was like had him spray painted on it like way back in the early 2000s and late 1990s. You know, so it's just like,
you never watched the cartoon?
Right. No, I watched it too, but like I know of the character more so from the urbanization of that character versus the actual cartoon. Yeah, so you know, it sucks for them, but you know, hopefully this will give them the time they need to do something with the game to make it more successful for them. I mean, this is a lot of time that they're gonna have, so it's possible that
that is the question. How do you make this game successful? Because their first initial release with this game was a brand new character every 2 weeks. They're not going to do that going forward.
That's not sustainable.
Which means that what is the sort of like the schedule between characters? Because traditionally other games, it's like every 3 months. Okay, cool. How do you abide your player base in between those 3 months to keep them playing?
I really only think Epic could sustain that type of shit.
I mean, it's not just Epic. Here's the thing. Like, it's in the same space as a game like League of Legends, as a game like Valorant, as a game like Apex Legends. And I'm comparing it to how those release those characters. And like
as far as staff-wise.
Yeah, I think staff-wise is what Sean's getting at. Like, I don't think the multiverse staff has enough.
No, I'm still talking about the three, like the release, like what is the more realistic release plan? Because like the 2 week thing was always going to be imaginable. Like that was, I don't know why they did that so early on.
It was shot in the dark.
And then the issue there, like couple that, and then there is the evergreen nature of Smash Brothers, and the way Nintendo has marketed that game is that we could all play multiverses, or we could play Smash Brothers. Which is the conversation we had the last time he and DJ hung out. And DJ because DJ was playing so much multiverses, he had just forgotten there were a bunch of Smash Bros. Characters that he just didn't know existed in the game.
I'm never listening to DJ again. I bought Nickelodeon All Stars because of this man. He had me excited.
I don't know if I told you to do that. I don't know if I told you to do that.
Smash Bros. Is everlasting dog stalker fun. But no. I'm interested to see if it comes back. I doubt it. I want to see where it comes back and how they release it, because they're saying they're not coming back till 2024, which gives them a year to make content to put that into this game. But like Overwatch 2 told me a lot that even though you spent 4 years making new content, I still haven't seen it all.
Yep. That's a good point. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. Before we wrap this episode up, I just wanted to do a quick what we've been playing. Sean and I, we was knee deep in some Call of Duty DMZ. We finally entered Building 21, which is the treacherous zone of a building
Oh
where it's
my
just a
god.
bunch of high level NPCs and a bunch of other players that are willing to put the
Bloodthirsty
gun.
mother.
Yeah. So we had a ball doing that. That was fun. I actually recorded the video, so I actually accidentally put it up last night. So I'm gonna make it more official today. Mind you, it's not very long because spoilers. We got
We
we
got
didn't
our
we didn't get
teeth
very
kicked
far.
in, and I was excited, like, again. So
And
let me run it down. Let me run it down. I'm like, yo,
go for it.
I got building 21 keys. Let's go run Let's go run some fades. Ugh. First of all, we tried to loot up in regular DMZ, just to get in there prepared,
Hmm.
and we just kept on. Like, we had good starts, and then we got greedy, and then I don't know, like, it was just terrible. We were mowing down other teams, and they were asking
Yep.
for help afterwards. It's like, no, there's no love here. You just
We introduced bad karma. That's what it was. We introduced bad
That's
karma,
what
and
it was.
that's what it was.
Every time we just roll over people, take all their stuff, and then try to exfil out, and no, just
Another
so
team
so we
rolls over us and takes our
yeah.
stuff.
So we finally make it to building 21, and immediately we're in like a dark hallway, and I want to say DJ goes down, or Savion, my cousin Savion goes
Yeah, you're
down.
saving.
I'm
Yeah,
just
he goes
like,
on first. Yeah,
oh my god, this is
yeah.
this
It,
is
it was.
ridiculous.
Yeah, because like in normal DMZ, you start on a very like open map, so you can, and it's bright outside because you're outside, so you can like see stuff, like you can make your plans and so on and so forth. When you start in Building 21, you have no map other than your mini map, and then the radar goes scrambly, so you
Fuzzy,
can't even
yeah.
really rely on that. So you really just have to rely on your team and like your actual ability to like pick out targets while you're playing the game. So it just gets crazy. Like we started in the garage, and I think there was like two separate teams in the garage as well. So like we tried to go up the steps, and we just got like hit from behind essentially by another team, and like we had to deal with that, and it just became just a rolling disaster of like, oh crap, there's a team there. All right, let's try to take them out. Oh crap, there's another team. Let's try to take them out. And it's just,
We
oof.
died the first time, and I think we tried to go on a regular DMZ like 6 or 7. We were playing this till like 2, almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no, we gotta have one more run. We gotta have one more run.
yeah. We were determined. We were determined. Yeah, so yeah, ultimately we didn't do it, but next weekend we'll try. So DMZ is available. Originally, it was available whenever you had the key, but then they
24/7. You
changed it.
needed a key.
Yeah, and then they changed it to just being available on the weekends to make it more of a appointment
Events.
playing kind of thing.
I
Yeah,
I guess to kind of consolidate the number of people in there, because
yeah,
maybe not
yeah,
enough people were earning keys to get in there. So now you don't need a key to access it. But I get like the keys are expensive. I think they were like $40,000, or you
hmm
could find a key on somebody. And I guess they're just the number of people playing it wasn't worth it. So I guess like the McDonald's McRib, when you make it a limited edition, then that's when people kind
show
of
up for it.
congregate and like, let me get some of this while it's around.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So yeah, and then like the big issue is that like once you lose all your stuff, you have to jump back in DMZ to essentially armor up to go back into Building 21, and that was our problem because we had to armor up, and then we would die armoring up, and then we have to keep armoring up, and then we finally armored up going to Building 21. Then we died there, so we had to armor up again, and like it sounds like a tedious thing, but there's it's just a lot of fun happening while you're doing this process, so it didn't feel as bad as it sounds. So
It,
it was a
it's
good time.
it's the addicting aspect of this is you're dawdling along having fun, and then you see an enemy, and you have to make a split-second assessment of whether or not that's a real person or not.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that gameplay loop is very solid.
It is, it is. Yeah. So, okay, that's Call of Duty. I just want to make a real quick update on Wild Hearts. I am pretty much near the end of the game right now. and I had a great time with it. I continue to have a good time with it. I really enjoy the weaponry. I enjoy the monsters. They just released a new monster, but because I haven't officially beat the game yet, I don't have access to the monster yet. It's like like Sakura Blossom, like fox type creature thing. I think it's akin to like a Nine Tails or something. Um, it's really cool. What you gonna say?
Repeat what you just said. Like
It's like the monster is like a fox type. I mean, I probably should have had the video ready. The monster is like a fox type monster where it does like its attacks are like electricity fused with like sakura blooms.
pedals, yes.
Like yeah, petals. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to me, it seems like it's like probably akin to like a Nine Tails thing.
If my Japanese mythology is correct, the nine tails, it probably is a kitsune. Did it have nine tails? That's a
I
different
don't
type of.
know.
That's a different type
Yeah,
of
okay, that
yokai
might be a different
altogether.
thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're probably right then. Yeah, it's really cool. I haven't got the fight it yet. I'm literally on the golden anyway, the wind tiger thing. That's what I'm doing right now. And after that I have the volatile monsters. I'm done. The issue that I'm running into now is it feels like a bunch of people jumped on this game, played the game, beat the game, and moved on. It seems like finding online matches is becoming really difficult to do. So you kind of just have to just play the game and put yourself online and hopefully people jump in to help you out, or you're gonna have to solo the monster by yourselves. And that kind of sucks, but that's kind of the way that these kind of games go, where the diehards really stay and they do it. And usually the diehards at this can solo monsters anyway, so there's not really a need to go online. So it's one of those things where okay, obviously this game is slowing down, not necessarily dying because they're still releasing content, and when they release content, a lot of people jump on, play it, but then slowly, it's that wave that they have to deal with. So yeah, I'm ultimately enjoying the game. If you are interested in getting the game, I would say get the game, but just know and understand that the online aspect might be a little tricky to deal with unless you have a friend that's also interested in playing the game. Then you can play the game together. Like Cameron was with me, and then he just kind of bailed off of that game, and he just plays uh, Marvel's Midnight Sun now, which is cool for him. But I
It's a
miss
good
you, Cam.
game.
I miss
It's
you.
a good
It is,
game.
yeah, yeah, it is. All right. Well, that is it for what we've been playing. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed talking about it. Don't forget, you can like, share, subscribe, dance, eat, all of that and more while you're watching this podcast, Press X Star Gamers Digest. See what I did there? I lost it, but then I found it at the end. Please do us a favor if you are listening, leave us a review. We would greatly appreciate that. Um, if you want, you can join our conversation at Discord at pressx2start.com/Discord. We hope that you have a good day. We hope that you wash your hands, you play games, say hi to your parents sometimes, say hi to your friends sometimes, and keep watching our content. Bye.